The Galactic Council chamber was alive with tense energy. Delegates from across the galaxy had gathered for the most critical summit of the century, where the fate of an entire star system rested in the balance. The centuries-old empire of the Krytar, a race known for their brutal conquests and terrifying weaponry, had been expanding rapidly, threatening to envelop neighboring systems. And yet, despite the danger looming over them all, none of the great powers of the galaxy had been willing to make a move. The Krytar were simply too dangerous, too powerful, and for once, every other race in the galaxy had come to a unanimous conclusion that could not defeat them. As the lights in the council chamber flickered, the holo display of the Krytar fleet filled the room. Thousands upon thousands of warships, each the size of a planet, hovered near the outskirts of the galaxy, a silent reminder of the impending threat. No one moved, no one spoke. Every race in the room knew the stakes, that they were frozen in fear, except for the humans. The human ambassador, Captain Elias Holt, stood in the back of the room. His short, dark hair was neatly combed, and his uniform was pristine, decorated with the symbols of Earth's unified fleet. Despite the galaxy's greatest minds and most powerful beings being in this room, it was his presence that commanded the most attention. Earth had always been underestimated, considered a primitive, insignificant little world by the galaxy's elite. But humans had a way of surprising everyone. And today, it would happen again. As the discussions dragged on, with no solutions offered and only fear permeating the air, Holt stepped forward. The room fell silent, all eyes on him. The Krytar had decimated entire civilizations with ease, and the Council had no idea how to combat such an overwhelming force. Holt cleared his throat, his voice calm but filled with authority. "I move we strike," he said, his words slicing through the tension like a blade. A collective gasp swept through the room. A few alien diplomats exchanged glances, a mix of disbelief and shock. The humans, mere primitive beings, wanted to strike. "You speak of war against the Krytar." One delegate from the Trollan race sneered. "Your people are barely able to defend their own borders. How can you hope to challenge them?" Holt met the alien's gaze with a cool, unwavering look. "We've faced worse. We've survived worse. The Krytar are brutal, yes, but they've underestimated us from the start." Another voice chimed in, this time from a tall reptilian species with scales that shimmered like silver. "The Krytar fleet outnumbers yours 100-1. Do you think your people can win this war?" "We will fight as we always have," Holt replied, "with ingenuity, with courage, and with unity. We've never relied on brute strength alone, and it's time the galaxy learned why." The room remained still, the weight of Holt's words pressing down on the council members. Holt's words struck a chord with the few races who had been watching humanity's rise with interest, species who knew that humans had a history of overcoming insurmountable odds. But even so, the council hesitated. It was then that a figure from the back of the room stepped forward. The alien was an ancient-looking being, a Dishar known for their long lifespans and their once unstoppable technological advancements. His voice echoed as he addressed the room. "I have seen this before," that Ishar elder said, his voice gravelly. "The humans have always been underestimated. They have always fought with what others would call impossible odds. But they've survived, and they've won. If anyone can take down the Krytar, it is the humans." Murmurs ran through the chamber. That Ishar had spoken, and for the first time, there was a shift in the room's energy. The council had been paralyzed by fear and indecision, but the humans, despite their humble beginnings, were now offering something that none of the galaxy's greatest powers had: action. A low hum filled the air as the holo display shifted. A map of the Krytar fleet appeared, outlining their most vulnerable points. Holt had come prepared. He always did. His fleet, though small compared to the Krytar's, was unlike anything else in the galaxy. Humans had perfected the art of stealth technology, fast strikes, and tactics that left even the most advanced alien fleets confused and disoriented. The Krytar were known for their sheer power, but what they lacked was adaptability. The humans had honed their skills over centuries of warfare and conflict, learning to fight not just with weapons, but with intelligence, with surprise, and with ruthless precision. Holt spoke once again, his voice unwavering as he addressed the room. We will strike their supply lines, cut off their reinforcements, and hit their weak points. We know the Krytar. They thrive on fear. We will take that away from them. And when their soldiers start to panic, we'll finish what needs to be done." He turned, looking toward the council members, his expression hardening. "If you refuse to act, the galaxy will fall. The Krytar will crush us all, but if you stand with humanity together, we can do what no one else has dared." The silence in the room was deafening, and then a shift. The first delegate to speak up was from the Corley, a species known for their technological expertise. "Humans have never failed to surprise us," the Corley delegate said, her voice calm but firm. "If they believe they can win, then perhaps they are our best hope." One by one, voices rose in agreement, and finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the vote was taken. The council, once frozen in fear, had made a choice. They would stand with the humans. Holt smiled, though it was more of a grimace. "Then let's show the Krytar what it means to challenge humanity." Within hours, the fleet was ready. The galaxy's greatest powers, once too afraid to act, now stood behind the humans, their ships flying in formation, prepared to strike. Holt led the charge, not just as a captain, but as the embodiment of humanity's resolve. As the human fleet breached the Krytar defenses, it was clear no one dared to make a move before, but now it was humanity leading the charge. The Krytar never stood a chance. In the end, it wasn't the size of the fleet or the power of the weapons that made the difference. It was the spirit of humanity that had tipped the scales. And the galaxy would never forget the day when humans took the lead and changed the course of history.